Hey legal studs! In this video, we'll discuss the strengths and weaknesses of courts as lawmakers. In this area of the course, the exam questions you get will start with words like critically evaluate, analyze, and discuss. That means you need to explain the strengths and link them to the weaknesses, as well as coming to an overall conclusion about the court's effectiveness as a lawmaker. Make sure you're prepared to discuss 5 strengths and 5 weaknesses. Now, to discuss this topic, I'm going to enlist the help of Angus. Welcome, Angus.
Hey, Amani.
Look, I think the courts do quite a good job as lawmakers. Courts can change the law quickly when the need arises. A relevant case will come before the court. The judge or judges will decide on the facts and create a precedent relatively quickly. What do you think, Angus?
The courts can only do that every so often. A court can't make law on its own. It has to wait for a case to come before it. That means that the court needs to have parties who are willing to spend time and money on the case.
True, Angus, but it is a pretty good system as an alternative to Parliament. Parliament can't and doesn't make law on every single conceivable area. Instead, the courts step in when a new situation arises. A court decision might reflect technological changes or changes in social values that Parliament hasn't anticipated. For example, in the Kevin and Jennifer case, the court expanded the definition of a man to include transsexual men in reaction to the rise of sex reassignment surgery.
But Amani, courts can't fill all the holes left by Parliament. Again, a court has to wait for a relevant case to come before it. Even then, the court is acting after a legal issue has arisen. Courts can't try to anticipate legal developments like a Parliament can.
There are things that courts can do that Parliament can't, though. Courts are free from political pressure. Judges don't have to worry about being re-elected like members of Parliament do, which means they can make law on more controversial areas without the fear of backlash. For example, the Supreme Court of Victoria played a huge role in developing abortion law in 1969, years before Parliament was game enough to touch the issue.
Come on, Amani. Surely that's balanced out by the fact that judges can be so conservative. A lot of judges don't think they should have power to make law, which means they stick to old, outdated precedents. In the Trigwell decision, for example, the court agreed with a really old decision which said that farmers who own livestock aren't responsible for the damage that their livestock causes.
You make a good point, but I'd say that overall, the courts prevent law from becoming too rigid. Precedents are flexible. Judges might be able to overrule, reverse, distinguish, or disapprove them. This flexibility allows the law to grow over time.
Again, Amani, that just doesn't always work in practice. Judges are often bound by what precedents they want to change. Don't you remember in 1985 when a Victorian court was forced to uphold a precedent saying that husbands could legally rape their wives?
That's true, and it was a horrible case, but I'd argue that it exposed a weakness in the law to Parliament. Almost immediately after that case was decided, Parliament outlawed rape in marriage. Judges are often able to use their expertise to point out the law's weaknesses.
You're right that judges have all this expertise, but they're actually limited in what they can actually do. Judges can only focus on facts and legal issues that the parties present to them. This means that judges might not get to hear all the facts and issues, which could negatively impact their lawmaking ability.
Angus, let's try to come to a conclusion that we both agree on. Why don't we say that courts overall are valuable as lawmakers?
I'll agree to that if we add that the court system has some really clear weaknesses and should take a back seat to Parliament when it comes to lawmaking.
Okay, how about, while there are some clear flaws in the court system, courts, as an additional body to parliaments, are valuable lawmakers?
Sure, that's fine.
Thanks, Angus. Have a go at your own evaluation of courts as lawmakers. Remember, when you're evaluating anything in legal studies, try to imagine that you're having a balanced argument, and always ensure that you come to a conclusion overall. Thanks for watching, and happy studying.